Hello everyone. Welcome back to Conscious Kumu Live. I am sure you all are having a good time, and I have to apologize first for the dogs that are barking at the back. I apologize. I'm at home. I'm doing this from home, so please don't mind the dogs at the back. But I hope that you can hear me clearly. So welcome back to our Conscious Kumu Live. This is a show that I want to bring in people that share the same passion as me, aspiring entrepreneurs, political leaders, activists, young leaders, anyone from any walk of life who have a inspirational story to tell, and I would like to interview them on this show. So, if you have read the brief of the show, you will know about this show. Well, I welcome you all. Welcome. Welcome you. I am so excited, but at the same time nervous because this is one of the people that I'm bringing on who have really impacted my life in so many ways, especially in terms of leadership, and someone that I look up to in the space of young people, youth leadership. So I'm a bit nervous to interview him, but at the same time I'm excited. So all of you who have just joined, just hang on tight, and we'll have a great conversation. And if you have any questions that you want to ask, you can always comment on the box so that we can hear, or I can read it out and then answer. He can answer some of the questions. Well, as a way of introduction, my guest today is Hercules Jim Palme, and he is one of the young leaders. He has been a great example of a youth leader in Papua New Guinea as well as globally, and he has impacted lives of so many young people in his work in the area of Youth Against Corruption Association, and then leading on to the leading of strike at the University of Papua New Guinea, as well as from there going on to become the great leader that he is today. So he has been a great friend, but also an amazing leader, and he's already waiting in the chat. So I will have to bring him on before I do a short introduction about him. Okay, let me see. Hi, Chris. I've invited you. Okay, he's on. Hi.
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm in the car actually. My tire broke down and I couldn't get home. So
No worries, all good, all good. It's so long as you are in a safe spot. Are you in a safe space, safe place where your phone will not gonna get snatched?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
wonderful. All right. So I was just giving a brief introduction about you and what you have done so far, and the journey that you are on. So I was just giving our followers or my followers an introduction about you, and of course you have a really colorful life in terms of leadership and the work that you have done so far in youth space, but also like generally as a nation builder. So I see that you have, taken courses from Harvard University, George Mason University, and Copenhagen University. These are like amazing universities that are like top in the world. And it's good that you said about jumping on to every opportunity that presents itself for you to learn more. And just by looking at, the life that you have walked so far, you really amplify that. So I hope that all our listeners can or followers can learn from this conversation as we go along. So I'm not gonna hold longer time, and I hope that the conversation that we have today will inform, inspire, wake up someone so that they can, take action on whatever issues that they are drawn to addressing their communities. So for those who don't know you, tell them about yourself in a brief, who you are, where you're from, probably some schools that you have attended. Are you the only sibling in family or not? Yeah. So everything about you. Well, not everything, but what that you feel comfortable sharing with us. Okay. We're just probably having a network. Okay. He's left the chat, but let me just bring him back on. Probably he's having problem network from his end. So let's just yeah. So as I was saying, he is one of these leaders that I think a lot of you may know, a lot of you may not know, but he is someone that has really given so much of his time towards youth development in the country, as well as youth leadership. So he has been a team leader, he has been a coordinator, he has been executive assistant, researcher, manager, like all of these things he has done. So he's really young for his age, but he has accomplished so much in his 28 years of life. So he is one of these inspirational people that I think a lot of young Papua New Guineans look up to. And he will be sharing his story with us um, about where he is at and what he's planning to do and what is new about what is happening in his life, and just some encouragement about youth leadership, and if anyone is wanting to do something in terms of leadership, in terms of serving the government, in terms of just civic educated and all of that. So he is served like across all sectors of leadership. So I'll just check again to see if he's in the chat, and then I can bring him on. Okay. I hope his phone didn't get stolen, so that will be bad. But we'll just hang on a little bit to see if he's gonna join us. I think his network dropped out, so he um, left the conversation. Right. Does anyone have any questions to ask? Does anyone have any questions to ask? I can answer some questions while waiting for him. Oh, he joined. Okay, he joined. Oh no, he didn't join. Ah, okay. So we'll just hang on for a little bit. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind comment. I try to do. I saw this as an opportunity when my contents were growing. I saw this as an opportunity to get different people on board so that we can have conversations that are educational, but at the same time encourage other people to take action. So this is one of the ways that I thought, well, if no one is doing it, and if this is an idea that I'm the only one thinking about, then I should do something about it. So here we are with live conversations and crazy contents. Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't I don't know how I should pronounce your Instagram handle, but thank you for the sweet word. Our guest actually his connection actually dropped out, so I'm just waiting for him to join us back on so we can continue the conversation. So I was asking him the first question and then his network dropped out. So if you don't mind and if you want to hang around and ask me some questions, that is fine with me. Okay, he is in. Yeah, he's here. Let's see if he comes on. Jason, okay. All right, Jason. Okay, he's on. I've invited him, so we'll just wait for him to hop onto this conversation. Okay, I've never sweated before in my life. Like this is hot. What must be so hot? So I mean, it just rained, but the aftermath of rain, the heat from the ground. Hercules is unable to join. Oh, we just hope that he joins. Okay. Um, okay, let's just invite Hercules again to join. Okay, I invited Hercules again to join. Okay. Let's see. Okay, he's requesting to join. Oh, please, I'm crossing my fingers. I hope it's not the internet. Someone say something. Okay. Oh, come on. Ah, let's show. Okay, he's on. He's on.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Haha, no worries. It's okay. Is your network okay?
I hope so.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Um, so we were on the question about it's okay. You can have your people join the conversation. I can see some people at the back. So if like um yeah, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you're from? Do you
So,
have siblings?
all right.
Biography.
Sorry about the network. So I have a few people in the car because we were planning to go back to the room so I can have good internet access and everything. But there's heavy rain here in Palme and the car broke down. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
from Jiwaka. I'm from rural village, originally from rural village in called LLG in Jimmy district,
Okay.
where people have no access to vehicles and education and medical supply and everything. So kids growing there have not some of them have not seen vehicle in their life. Yeah, I'm from there. I grew up with my grandparents, so I'm like the last born in our from my grandparents. So I typically grew up in the village, normal village life, like most rural kids. Yeah, I think that's just
That's
about me.
wonderful. That's one. Like I love it that you grew up with your grandma. It's. I think grandparents are special in terms of
Yes,
looking after you. Like they are the ones who have seen life, and so like the way the view about life is so different from even your parents as well or our parents because they're like their in-depth knowledge of culture and tradition and values and knowledge like is like they have the best. I should say, the best view about everything. So that's really great that you grew up with your grandma. That's very special. So like just share a little bit about how it was like to be brought up by your grandma, like just being with her. Like, is there like one thing that you remember about her and like probably her worldview or something like that that you could share with us?
Yeah, I mean, she's really strong. She taught me leadership when I grew up because I have a lot of aunties. So when there's a pig killing or something in the village, my grandfather is someone who doesn't talk, who isolate himself from everyone. But my grandmother, uh, she is from a chief family in our village, so she knows leadership, and she taught me leadership, how to share, how to talk in the village. There are different settings and how the tone of voice and everything, how you structure it, everything about leadership. She taught me. I grew up and I didn't realize it till when I started going for election and election preparation and everything. I started to use the skills that she taught me when I was a kid. And I was in boarding school in both high school and national high school, even to uni. So I missed that a lot from them. So for the last 4 months back in the village, I I tried my best to spend more time with them. And what the important thing that I've learned from here is to really work hard, regardless of your background and how you grew up, in your status in politics or economy, your income or social status doesn't really matter as long as you wake up every day and work strong. Everything is possible.
Wow.
Yes, he taught me how
Okay,
to
now
plant cocoa
she's
and
yeah.
yeah, she is
Continue.
everything. And also my grandfather. My grandfather has a really beautiful history in service delivery in Jiwaka Province. So that is my stepping stone in terms of my political career in Jiwaka.
That's great. I mean, I love what your grandmother told you about hard work. That's it. I mean, that's the solution to so many of our problems today because we don't want to work hard for anything. We just want to take, like free. And there is nothing that is free. If something is given free, it's kind of like it doesn't have value in it. And of course, if someone is giving it out from their heart to bless you, but if you work hard for it, then it adds value to it because it has just, hard work, like your whatever, like you put your heart into it and then you create that. So I already love your grandma. She sounds like a very, very strong woman, like seriously. And it's good that you took up that trait. Yeah, we need that.
Yes, she talks a lot, and I think I picked up from her, and I speak a lot.
I think you will need this soon. You are needing it now, and you will need it soon as you venture into the next level of leadership. So well, it's very lovely to know about that, and I think most of the time in our communities, people don't see, like from your story and from grandmothers, I can now say that women are actually leaders as well in our communities because most of the time we try to say that women are not like leaders in some sense, but when you look at the stories like your grandmothers, these are champions that really cultivate the leadership in every facet that they come across. And like for you, it's your grandmother who really cultivated the leadership qualities in you for you to be able to lead, from as soon as you enter school to where you are now. So I think generally Papua New Guinea is like still we are going into, or we are progressing, but we have women who are leaders and who can really show us how to lead, like your grandma. Yeah.
Then I see women have always been leaders, even in our cultural society, and that is something we have failed to acknowledge. We look at leadership in different way. We define and we talk about leadership from the Western culture, but when you look at it traditionally and historically and culturally, women have always been leaders in our communities. Even back in those days, women have always been leadership and leaders in our communities, or and then into that modern society. But the culture that we have today and the mentality and how we look at leadership in for women in PNG has changed because of different influence. But really, women have always been leaders and will always be leaders.
Yeah, I love it. That's so true. And we need to acknowledge that. We need to continue to acknowledge the women are leaders. Not only like probably back then in their families, in the communities, but now they're leaders also in different areas and positions. Even if it's not in the government, I'm not downplaying that we definitely need women leaders in the parliament, but I'm also saying that we do have women leaders everywhere, like all the other sectors. You look at all the other sectors, you have CEOs, you have managing directors, you have all these women leaders. So it is something that, we can all acknowledge and also work towards balancing everything. So
Yeah, yeah. No, I just want to highlight this that I think something that we're missing in the discussion of women leadership in this country is that women are the leader in the most fundamental institution in the country, and that is family. And women have always been leaders in the most fundamental institution in the world, and that is family.
I agree with you, my brother. I absolutely agree with you 100% on that. There's no dispute argument on that one. That statement is true to the core. So it's coming back to your journey as a leader, as a young leader, and like where it all started. Of course, you shared your grandmother has like really cultivated that leadership skill and qualities in you, but like from there, leaving your home and going to school, right? Leaving the comfort of your home and going to school and really getting into that environment where you could actually put your skills and the knowledge that she has given you to use, and really, I mean, like practical terms, like how did it happen for you in terms of leadership? Where did it start? Because you're one of the greatest example of how a young person, like age doesn't define leadership. And you are, say, you are in your 20s, like 27 years old, and now, like, you're probably the youngest to be contesting, right? In this election. How did the journey started for you? Like, where exactly did you became a vice captain or a class captain or a prefect, and from there on?
I thank you, Anna. That's a really good question, and that is, uh, I started my leadership career not in the class when I was in primary school because I was the smallest, and in the class I wasn't able to win class captain. But then when I was in grade 7, uh, one of my friends was just making a joke. For her, she was just making fun and mockery out of me. She nominated me to contest the school president when I was in grade 7. And we all laughed, and I said, no, I can't do this. But then my friend said, just do it. You don't have to talk or anything. And everything with good status, community status in our school. Contested the school president as one of the biggest school in Jiwaka, St. Anselm Primary School. So I was invited to contest, and I did, and somehow I won the seat, and that is where all it started, and that is when all my passion to fight for people started, because in that primary school teachers were playing around and they missed class a lot. And so I started my first protest against injustice in this country when I was in grade 7. And then I led the
Wow.
first protest. And then I went to my school, Mileb High School, and I was a school vice president. So I started the second protest a week before we got our separate Jiwaka Province. My protest was on a basis that the Jiwaka Province will be built on education and agriculture, and the education is is not in safe hands when teachers are not actually committing themselves and doing what they're supposed to do. So I started the second protest in Milab High School. We worked for kilometers with banner and everything to Bunstown and all the way to Hagen, that is in Western Island, to give our petition. And then after a week, we went to secure a separate Jiwaka Province. So it's a long journey, but it started from there. And you know, Sogeri National High School, we've been there. I got the class captain and everything, and we started the youth against corruption. And you know, I was starting apply for political science because I I realized my calling when I was in Sogeri. I was reading a book from one of our teacher in Sogeri about vision by Dr. Miles Monroe, and that book alone, that was the first book I read in my life in Sogeri, and that book changed me and changed my direction. So I decided to apply for political science, and it's a long story. And I was in UPNG. We Jiwaka Student Fellowship Vice President, and into the second year I was the Jiwaka President, and we went as far as leading the protests and everything in this country. So yeah, everything began when I was in grade 7 in Santesna Primary School.
So, like, leading the protest wasn't a new thing for you. Like, you were doing this before you came to UPNG, because I think it's one of the very scariest thing, but also one of the most important events that really um, changed the trajectory of our country in terms of, people power. Um, because when I look back, I was part of the team, right? We were doing the protest together. I was one of the student leaders as well, really telling my students, hey, we have to stand up to tyranny, we have to stand up to corruption, we have to stand up to injustice. And just by I can testify, and for those people who don't know Hercules as I do, we went to school together in Sogeri, and I can attest to you that he was one of the first people that I saw dressed up as like you're going for work. I was like, whoa, this is cool. Because Hercules, you changed my perception on a student going to school in terms of dressing up, in terms of leadership. And since like seeing you walking around with a plastic bag every day, every morning you're carrying a plastic, picking rubbish, collecting rubbish all throughout the school wherever you're going. Even like dressed up like a really, really, suit and tie. And I was like, wow, so this is cool. This is how students should dress up like. And since then, I've been telling, like just trying to encourage people, like especially students who are tuning in. Please take the opportunity of going to school as you're going for work. Like, you coming to school as Sogeri, like, totally changed my perception on how a student should be dressed up, how a student should act, and all of that. And not only that, but also like leading Youth Against Corruption Association, competition, also like SRC, Student Representative Council, on campus, leading your, Jiwaka Christian Student Fellowship and your church, and carrying that all the way to UPNG, and really having that leadership elevated to being SRC, actually being part of SRC during the school, and leading the protest that actually removed one of the leaders of the country, and like the change of political leadership that really, really opened our eyes to see we can really do this. We can really stand, if we stand together, and if we have one voice and we speak one language, we can definitely change anything in our country. And so that has been like a highlight for me as an individual and as a young leader, and seeing the journey of your life and the leadership from Sogeri all the way to UPNG, and now here, representing PNG in Canada, in Tokyo, all the way to Georgia, right? Is that correct? And even attending, School universities as Copenhagen, Harvard University, and George Mason University. These are like great institutions, and when you say that you are jumping at every opportunity that's given to you to be able to build yourself up, I see that and I'm like, this guy is serious and one day he's gonna probably stand for election, which is happening now. It is happening this year. And oh my gosh, couldn't be more prouder of you and the journey that you have taken to be where you are now. Tell us one thing, like could be many things, but just one main thing that really made you to decide that today, this year, this time is the time that you would like to stand for election. And you are running for regional, right? Jiwaka regional. That's huge. And I'm not saying that age does matter, but you are probably the youngest person to compete. You are probably the youngest person to run for election this year, right? Am I have to recheck. I have to check. But you are 27, 28. That's like the youngest to contest. Wow. Tell us about that journey or that light bulb that went off and said, this is the year I'm gonna run. And then just the journey through how it has been for you so far.
Thank you, and I'll take you back to Sogeri. And you said something about dressing. I've always, I came from a really average family, and the best thing, something that my mom told me is that how you dress up in the morning, it will determine how you go during the day and your attitude towards life. So I've
Wow.
always dressed up like I am someone who is up there with a really class and everything, just so that I, like they say, yeah, fake it till you make it. So I tried my best to dress up everything really neat and go to school, doing basic things, getting small things right. Like back in Bulgaria, we were part of this group of students who were carrying plastic around. It was credit to my friend Luke Peel, who was initiating that movement, and we did that. You cannot fight against corruption and take this country if you're not careful in getting small things right. So that was our concept around collecting rubbish at the campus. I remember, I think, a few times I did collect rubbish at the UPNG campus when everyone was sleeping, especially at Forum Square in the night. Because I believe in getting small things done and doing your best and being faithful to the small things. And I can't believe that has got me to where I am now. I've never imagined in my life that I would meet Barack Obama, and I did that in Canada, and I still can't believe it. And I've gone to places. I represent 700 million young people in the Asia Pacific region and spoke in Seoul in South Korea to 78 country countries, the world leaders, and more than 100 NGOs and businesses in the world in South Korea. That is something that I've never imagined. You cannot expect a boy who sold cocoa in grade 5 to get 50 kina and pay school fee will go to that level where he will speak to 78 countries, the world leaders. So I am blessed and I am happy. I think most of it is because of the important thing is because of my Christian faith. And God has raised me to that level. And secondly is my commitment towards leadership and the sacrifice that I've made to fight for people. Even though back in high school and primary school, even in Sogeri and in uni, I haven't really figured out why I did what I did, but now I realize and I know exactly what I did, and I had to sacrifice my young career. The people who I am contesting against are twice my age. I am going to be the youngest candidate in Jiwaka regional seat, but it doesn't stop me because I am passionate and I am driven with the purpose to serve my people. So that nothing will stop me. Even sometimes I have no fuel money, I have no cars and no guns like everybody does in Jiwaka. I don't have a million kina, I have 100,000 kina in my account to contest the election. Completely opposite. But I always believe in changing status quo and challenging myself and trying something new. So this is for me, regardless of money or no money. I am. This is my dream and my passion. So to serve the people. So I am really excited. I've lost 15 kg doing election awareness for the last 4 months in Jiwaka. Because we've sacrificed our life and my education for this country. Jiwaka are they are my people. So I have to do that, and I am breaking barriers and changing mindset and trying to bring a different brand of politics and how people's leadership in Jiwaka. It's a complete different menu that I am bringing to Jiwaka because people are used to big men with big stomach and cowboy cap and all these 10 seaters and cruisers lining up and all this big idea, grand idea about politics. And that is, look at where we are now. This country is at the stage we are broken. Our economy is down, and there's social disorder and service delivery is not happening in this country just because of that kind of mentality about leadership and governance and politics in this country. So for me, I don't care. I am there to change that people mindset about leadership. People see leaders up in the islands and dummy gods. They will carry you and they will do anything for you. But we are trying to change that. Actually, I allowed just one group to carry me because there's a political context to it. So when they wanted to carry me, I said, okay, this is fine, given the political context in this tribe. But the rest, I said no because I want to change people's mindset about leadership. So everything goes back to getting small things right, back in high schools, back in uni. So I believe that there is no better time than now to contest this election, and I believe that I will win this election, and I will come back and continue to fight for my people in Jiwaka and in this country. If I can sacrifice my life, then my my career and my status about politics in Jiwaka, even I lost a lot of weight too, and I look like someone who is incapable of contesting in every terms in terms of political culture in islands. But who cares? I'm gonna fight this, and I am willing to make any sacrifice for it. I was threatened a lot. They told me, you are too young. What are you doing? You have no experience about life. You have no qualification. You have no car. You have nothing. Why are you wasting your time? Go back, young man. Build yourself up. Build your background and everything. But I've sacrificed a lot for my people. When I was in uni, I got my book allowance to get dictionaries for my tribe. And one of the guys is at the back now. He's tutor at UPNG. I think he's sleeping. He's a tutor at UPNG. So my idea when I was in uni is that I don't want to be the only one who will be graduating at uni. I want more of me in uni. So there's one there at the back and a few other students. So I've sacrificed my book allowance for my people. We've traveled miles. We've traveled kilometers. We have made all our sacrifice to deliver service, travel the length and breadth of Jiwaka when I was a high school student and university student to promote education in Jiwaka and fight for our people. So I am really excited. I am looking forward to it, even though it's really headache. Just getting on my nerves every day. Yesterday night I stayed till 1 p.m. because the reach they said we will be supposed to open next week, Thursday, and I am stressing out about everything in politics. And yeah, anyways, that's plenty to talk now. I
No,
think that's a lot.
I love it because this is the time to have this conversation, and everything you said is timely because it is everywhere. The decay in how people think when it comes to leadership, right? They think like they have to get something from someone in order for them to do something, right? And you are changing that. You are changing that mentality by showing to them a different style of leadership. Because one thing is like they have been accustomed to the same way of leadership, the same style of leadership, and they think that having or getting something from someone in order to give them something is leadership. But you are changing that mindset, and you are bringing a different style, and proving that this is also a way. There's also a way, and this is how it can be done. So especially when you mention about like the political leadership up there in the highlands. I'm not from there, and I don't really understand how it is up there. But from what I've I've just heard you say, you're saying they have guns and then they have, you know, money and then they have cars and all of that. But if you do not match up to that, then you are not capable of being a leader. But that is not the measure of what a leader is supposed to be like, right? Does it make sense? That is not the measure. These are just material possessions. And
It's either
a leader is someone who leads from here, from the heart, and by using this, it's not something that is outside of them that gives them the status of being a leader. So of course, like, there's that mentality that's everywhere, but someone has to start somewhere. And so I completely agree with you on that. And it is something that we all need to change. We all need to change that mindset. And you sharing this is giving me an idea as well to really go home, because my name is registered back home. So I have to fly home to cast my vote. So that is important.
yes, Jana. You said two things. One is people. It's a give and take situation now in the highlands. One, basically because I back in those days, back in colonial days, there was weird things running in this country. Everything was working. The system was working. The public service machinery was working. Delivering service to those that people were having a better life. That was when our leaders, our politicians were not educated to the level that we have today. The members of parliament are well educated, including my governor, the one I'm challenging now as a PhD. Back in those days, we had these people who had no education, but they understood what leadership was, and they were able to deliver service to our people. Now we have a new culture, basically because politicians for the last 30 years have not given service to people. So people said, okay, you know what? Me, Kisham, if I get a 20 kina, if a 200 kina, a length left, a cook, that's enough for my vote because I'm not going to get anything in 5 years anyway. I think we have built that mentality. So the only way is go back to the roots and changing that culture. It's going to take each a behavior change process. It will take 15, 20, 30 years, but we have to challenge the state to go. If you don't do it now, then there's no other better time to change that state to go. It's just the second thing I wanted to comment on, but I forgot. Maybe later.
Absolutely. And I am sure, like, the line that we are treading on right now is very, very delicate and it's very sensitive. And I hope that like whatever that we share here is for the benefit and education of the majority who are tuning in, as well as those who will be watching this later on. So this is all about education, and I encourage you to really, really think about our future. Not you, but I'm talking about the people who are tuning in. The followers, to really think about our future and what we want to achieve in the next 5 years to 10 years. It's really important that today is the day that we change, we challenge the status quo. So I know that you are a very, very busy person, and of course you are like one of these people that are like just go getter. You see something, you see a problem, and then you do something about it to change that, to add solution to it, to add value to it. So, what is one special moment in your life? What is one special? Of course, you're like, everyone sees you as this public figure, like you're strong and all of that. Of course, there you are strong and you are like you are a leader. But what is one thing in your life that really, really is a moment that is really special to you, and probably something that really, really changed your perception about something, and how did that affect your life in a way? So I'm sure like we were focused on politics only, but this is like more to do with coming to you as a person, as an individual. What is one a precious moment, or like a moment that happened in your life that really, really directed you in a path, or that really changed your perception about something. And now you are like, you think about that and you treasure that moment.
This one thing about me is that I always decline to be average. I always decline to be like everybody else. Basically because I I have a different skin color, and that's I was always different from any kids in the community. So for people who have always seen me like someone who is different and outsider in the community, someone who is different, and that I took as a challenge to be different and never to be average. So that is, I think, that is one of the things that I hold deeply in my heart. That is why now I'm contesting regardless of whatever, because I don't want to be average. I don't want to be like any other young person. I have to be different, and I believe this is something that most young people need. Young people just want to be average. They just want to just go to school like everybody else, just get an employment like everybody else, pay tax and die. But I declined to do that, and I've always declined to do that. And back in Sogeri, we started this global group, a group that we've started to get young people to discuss about national issues and become future leaders in this country. Because I declined to be just like another young person, and that is something that have kept me going. And my greatest moment, I'll say, I've never realized, and I think I've never told anyone, is my election for grade 7. Uh, I should have given up and say no, I won't contest, because there were a lot of kids. Their parents used to contest election and everything, so they hold this pride that they are leaders. And me had no history in political leadership in the family, so I said, you know what, I'll just go, and that has really changed everything. And I'm here, I'm trying to contest because of, I think, that moment. But importantly, I think that is the most precious moment. But there are a lot, and then one of them is, I think, my name.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I still don't have any idea. I think I'll ask my mom why she gave me my name, because my name is a Greek demigod that
Yes.
fought.
Yes.
It's an issue of fighting for the people,
Yes.
fighting against the system
Yeah.
to give back to the people. So I think that is what has happened to me all my life. I have been trying to fight the system, fight the norms to save the marginalized people. So please, me, I don't think I can't recall any special moments, but maybe I'll just say that.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course it's a general question for you, and you don't really have to dig deeper into anything else. It's it's always good that we see people from what they have accomplished so far. Like we see the flag, we see congratulations, we see, hey, I'm so happy for you. Oh, that's great, you got this job. Oh, great, you're contesting for election. We see all these fine colors, but we don't see the work that is being done, right? In the background, all the work, the thinking, the challenges that you have to go through as an individual to really, really come to terms and to really, really make a decision and say that this is the time that I'm gonna step in, and this is the time that I want to, step up and stand and challenge the status quo. So it's like I am sure you have so many successes, but we also know that for these things to happen, we also go through some kind of challenges as well. So for you as a leader, for you as a leader, as well as I have to stress the word young, because I feel like that's very important in terms of us talking about leadership, because right now we see everyone who is above 30, 40, 50 in most important decision making positions, and then we see less than 30 years and younger, we don't see most of them in very high level decision making positions. So in your rise to this level where you are now, is there like a challenge that you have faced, and how did you maneuver, how did you try to address the challenge, and come up with a way that helps you move forward?
Jana, this is a very emotional question for me.
Okay.
There's
Don't cry.
challenges are more than the small portion of success that I have at the moment. I actually have gray hair now because of election. The stress. I have to go to the barber though. Yeah, one of my greatest challenge was that I have a different skin color because of my biological father. So I was called names. I was called a name, all the names that you can imagine. So I was seen as an outsider. So That was the greatest challenge. The second one was people told me I couldn't make it all my life, and most of them were in family, and that is where you get the greatest challenge is always within. So my family have been the one who have been no trust in me in my entire life, and now they start to trust me now. The only one that trusted me was just my mom, and everyone said she's uneducated, so she's just crazy to think that his son is going to be a member of parliament. There was a big discussion, and family rejected me when I was in when I wanted to study political science. They said, "Oh my goodness, how you have nothing? How are you going to contest political science?" And they called me all names. They said one of them said, "You're going to be a bag carrier and or politicians and con men in the streets and everything." I was rejected in the family. I was rejected within my own family. So I spent all my life in the church, growing up in the church, doing all the pastoral work with our pastor, everything, because I was rejected in my own home. And I told them I'm going to prove everyone wrong, and I have always challenged myself, and that is one of my motivation why I did what I did. Like I declined to be average. When I started working, I started doing studies. I started pushing boundaries. Even I was criticized my boss about certain things, but I pushed to a point that they've started to accept my ideas and push me. When I was resigned, I had two positions. I looked after governance and service delivery division of CIMC. At the same time, was acting executive director for PNG Resource Governance Coalition, position that I didn't apply for. And at the same time, I was a member of the senior management team. The only staff who was part of the management team of both national affairs and on CIMC. So I had a lot of challenges. When I was in grade 5, I had no school fees, so I had to go and dig cocoa. Not just cocoa for people to consume, but for cocoa blue pig. And I had to sell the cocoa myself in our market to get money. You know, people felt, all feeling sorry to me. I felt sympathy, like, the cocoa that I sold were sold out. And then one time in uni, I had no school fee. So I had to sleep in the church because I wasn't able to afford my boarding and lodging fees. Sometimes I had no soap in uni. Those were the struggle, but those were the motivating factor that brought me to where I am now, and we trying to contest the next general election. That is the biggest challenge, because when you contest the election, you are branding, and this is a lifetime sacrifice, because everything about you is gone. Everything about you is about people now, and this is like, that's a really big challenge. But I'm going out a bit of the question, but I have more challenges and success in my life. I am still going through challenges now. That's why I'm here, because of election and everything. And I have a lot of challenges within my own relationship, and I had challenges and everything. But I'm happy. I'm used to having all these challenges to, people are stressed. People around me are stressed about something, about an issue, a challenge. But I always laugh, because I went through worse in life. So what is worse than a small election challenge? So yes.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow. Like you never really know someone until you sit down and you listen to their story, and you see how far they've come. We see the bigger picture, and then we don't see the work that has been done behind the scenes. So I am so happy that you get to share this with us. And I'm sure a lot of these people who are tuning in will relate to this one way or the other, because we all come from a village, right? We are all from the village, so every one of them here will definitely relate to each one of the stories, each one of the scenarios of the story, and I think it's all has come full circle, because everything that happens in our life, it will always come full circle, and at the end of the road we will realize and we will know why it happened at the beginning. Yeah, we will know why it
Yeah.
happened at the beginning, why the particular thing happened, why this happened at the time. So every challenge is that, as an individual, every challenge that I face, I think that it is telling me, it is teaching me something. So at the end of this journey, I will understand why it happened. So right now for you, you have faced all of this. You have stood up and out of all the situations that you have faced. And it has helped you as well to think outside, to think maturely, and all of that. And now you are able to stand against any critics, especially when taking on this big challenge of standing for election. That's huge. You have stood against all these critics within your own family, and now you have won them over. So what is impossible, right? If you can stand against your own people, like your own family members who don't really, have faith in you, and now like you prove to them that you can do it, and now you have won them over. Now it's like, who are other people that can talk to me because I have stood up for my own people. I mean, in my own family, and I've really, really, brought them over to the other side of my thinking. So it's always good. And at the end of the journey, as I said, it will always come full circle, and you will know why it happened. And I'm sure that this is one of the journey that you will be discovering that, and why this has happened to you. And all these qualities, all the stronger skin you come up in life. So you have grown thick skin. So now anyone who wants to talk against them, like, no, I stood in front of the police that got guns and pointed at us at the university. So who are you to your words don't matter because
Yeah,
I actually missed the bullet from the police. I was running away from tear gas and whatnot. I've gone through worse. So it's like the story. It's okay. I'm not gonna touch the Bible story, but yeah, it's you go through it and then it makes you stronger. So
yeah,
yeah.
Yana, I received threats from certain individuals, politicians in Jiwaka. They said, they're going to shoot you, they're going to do that. And I laugh. Sorry,
Yeah,
someone called, and there's people are calling and then disturbing our conversation. I'm sorry about that.
no,
So
we
people
will.
are threatening me, they're saying all of these things. They said, we will shoot you down, everything. And I tell them, you see, I I was shot by the national government, and I was brutalized by the police. This is big. These small guns and these small threats are small things. These are small things. So
True.
yeah, I have always acted above my age. I've always acted above my age because I was with my grandparents and they were old and I was so young that I wanted to fill up that gap. There was no senior people in our family, so I have to share the food, so kai kai, everything. So I always acted above my age. And then, so I think this is for me. Election being young is it's part of my life.
Yeah, wonderful. I love like all the stories that you've shared, and the journey that you are taking to run against some of the biggest people in your province to actually contest for regionality. That's the highest seat in the in the province. So for you as a young person who is actually like below 30 years old who is contesting, and I believe you are probably the youngest to ever contest any election at all. Um, in of course there was one person who contested election and won at 26 when he was 26 years old. I There's his name. I don't know where he's from, but it's registered somewhere. But probably you are the second youngest person to ever contest, but first to ever contest in your province, as the first youngest person. So this journey to political leadership, and what are, I guess I should say, what do you envision happening as a young person in politics? And in any way, how do you see it benefiting not only your people from Jiwaka, but also the people that are within that age group that you are in, and like how best that they can be represented? Because like our population is 60% to 65% as young people, with the age group is below 30 and above, 15. So of course you have dreams for Jiwaka, and at the same time we will know that you'll be the only person who is representing our interest when you become the governor, because you are like 27, 28 years old. That's like huge for us. That will be a huge win for us, for these millennials. So like like no whatever. It's just, how will I say it? How would you, or what is your dream, or what is your passion, or what do you think about, or what is your plan in achieving that, while at the same time managing Jiwaka? Or if there are some plans in this particular category that I've just shared.
Thank you, Anna. Just like women in politics, we have few young members of parliament. But something that is missing now is giving a really good, credible leadership in this country that will set a platform for people like me to go into parliament. They have not done that. They have done to some extent, but they're a bit older. So I want to provide that leadership in this country, that people will start believing in young leadership and young mindset and a different vision that people can rely on and take. If he can do it, you can do it too.
Yeah.
And when you look now, people are talking about leadership in this country, and especially service delivery. People are always comparing Dr. Lino because he's setting that platform in terms of service delivery.
Yes.
And and my focus is also in terms of service delivery in Jiwaka, but importantly, improving and focusing on governance issues and setting a policy. My policies are something that this country has not seen in the last since independence.
Wow.
And that is when you see my Facebook post, I always talk about I'm trying to create a movement, a revolution in terms of politics. So for example, one of my policies is contract transparency, and that is something that I picked up in my work around open government partnership. So you see, Jiwaka and this country has not seen contract transparency and fiscal transparency. So one of my policy, number one policy, is to fight against corruption, and that is to do that by changing the entire thing around transparency. So we're gonna have fiscal transparency where we publish all the finances in the provincial government. The provincial government deals with Jiwaka provincial government, and that is something that this country has not done. Not our forefathers and our politicians now, prime ministers, have not provided fiscal transparency, and they have. This is the result. And look at where we are now because of people hiding those key information about finances, and people have been stealing from the government and the people. Individuals have been stealing from the people because politicians have been hiding those, and they kept them as very secret and highly confidential documents. So we're going to make, for me, is setting a different platform and challenging. And like I always tell you, I told you, I decline to be average. I decline to be an average member of parliament who just comes and go. But I want to set a legacy, not just for Jiwaka and not just for this country, but importantly for my children. I want my children to look up to me and say, this is what my dad did. And I'm going to do that because that is something that I've missed all my life. I'm not saying that I'm a good father, but I'm saying that I'm going to make them proud. I'm going to set a standard for my children. And I think leadership is all about setting good standard for your children. When you think about your children's legacy, then you will do everything right. And you will save the people right. So for me, it's just creating a platform and providing a leadership at a national level that will start gaining confidence about young people getting to parliament and changing this country. And I also want young people, because we are majority in this country. I want all these young people, I want to give them hope. And that is where I think we will change this country, because I want young people to have conversation about this country and how to provide leadership and what they can do for this country. Most people is like what the country and what the politicians will do for them. But for my life, it's always about what I can do for my people and my community and my country. So that is what I'm trying to do. It's just challenging status quo, pushing boundaries and creating especially reform policies that will focus on good governance and change always mentality. Things have been happening in secrecy and in darkness, and as a result, we have fallen, all the way. We fall back because in terms of everything, because things have been different. It's different now. So for me, it's just I don't want to be politically correct. Like you have to do things like this way, that way, because you have to get into parliament next election. I don't care about politically correct. I just want to challenge status quo and bring ideas and actions and all these things that will change everything. And I've done that all my life, and I believe that this election is a platform for me to go into parliament and challenging those ideas and stay for in the parliament and back in Jiwaka.
Wow, I am speechless. Because I think you're on the right track, and everyone like from Jiwaka, if you're tuning in and you want to see change in leadership, you want to see change in the outcomes of everything that we've been doing so far. Please, this is your guy. I mean, I didn't plan to advocate for you, right? In terms of vote
We
this guy,
have to
but then
advocate
I'm
for
not
each other.
supposed. Yeah, I'm not supposed to infringe on another person's right to vote whoever. But guys, you all have heard these men speak, and I don't know any other reason why you shouldn't want him to represent you in the big house. So I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna say you vote for him or not, because that's not my place to say. But you've heard him. He has been, he has worked in the NGO space. He has worked in the government. He has worked, among business houses. He has traveled far and wide around the world. He has met global leaders, and his network is not only Papua New Guinea. His network is global. So you want someone who has that network to be able to be your leader, so that he knows where to pull things from. He knows where to, pull help from, and the specialties from, and all of this. So it's about time that we have a young person in the parliament, and this man right here is someone that you all, especially those of you who are friends with people from Jiwaka, you are from Jiwaka. Please, I urge you to listen to this man, and make up your mind and stand behind his policies and his strategies, so that he can be able to represent not only you guys, but everyone else in Papua New Guinea, especially in this age range. So thank you so much. Thank you, Hercules, for joining me on this live conversation. I am sure you're a very busy man, and I appreciate your time and effort to really come on live and really take part in this conversation with me. I am sure everyone has learned something from this conversation. And I don't know if they have asked some questions. I didn't see any questions. I was just seeing compliments and like excellent, compliments, excellent. Everyone is basically agreeing with you and everything you shared. So that's really good. Just before you go, what is one thing, one advice that you could give to any young person who is watching this and who wants to be a leader like you, and who wants to take that step in the future whenever they want to make up their mind? What is your advice to them? One advice.
Oh, uh, just forget about
We're done.
what what you don't have and your status. Just go for what you believe in. If it, your dream is if your dream is just bigger than you, then that's better. Just go for it. Don't care about anything and everything and what people say. If
Yeah.
there's just one person believing in you, that's enough to do what you can, and just always decline to be average. Don't want to be average. Don't be average. If you want to be average, you're just gonna be like anybody else. And look at anybody else. They want to go to uni, graduate, get a job, pay tax, and pass away. And no. And this country needs leadership. This country needs young people to go out there and fight for this country. If you don't fight for this country now, what else is gonna do? I am sacrificing my life, and I am doing this at the early age because our parents, our generation, the parents, the generation that has raised us have failed to fight.
Oh, come on. This conversation was great. Okay, we'll just wait. Let's go. Okay. Thank you so much all for watching. He, yes, Giselle has failed us. I agree with you. So I'll just check if he's here and then he can complete what he was saying. And then we'll go. He's still on the chat, so I invited him. He'll just end what he was saying, and then we'll call it an afternoon for us. Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think we have gone past our time. It's 11 past 4, but I thank you all so much for listening in. And as he said, if you have something to, if you want to do more, and give back, and if there's something that you want to do, just do it, just do it. That's what he was saying, and then he got cut off. So if you have any questions that you want to ask Hercules, please, I will save this video in my profile account, and then you can go on, and then you can go on and you can ask him these questions. So you are more than welcome to ask him these questions in the comment section when this video is saved. I would love to answer any questions, and of course I think he will also love to answer any questions. So ladies and gentlemen, that has been Hercules Jim Palme, and he is one of the best young leaders in Papua New Guinea. And he is 28 years old, and he is contesting Jiwaka Regional Seed. Just just amazing. I am like blown away by this interview and by this young man's wisdom, and just the articulation that he gave on what he really wants for his people and for PNG. I think this is something that we all can agree on, and these are some of kind of leaders that we want to stand behind and support. In anywhere that you find them, whether in politics, whether in civil society, in business, corporate, you want to stand behind people like this who have the interest of the people at heart. So I thank you so much all for tuning in. I really appreciate every comment, every compliment that you all have written on down here. I've seen all of them, and I appreciate that. Please tune in. You will not want to miss tomorrow's 7 to 8 Instagram live conversation, and the notice will drop 6 p.m. today, just 2 hours from now, on our next live, next guest speaker, a guest on the show. All right, I will leave you now. So have a great afternoon wherever you are in Papua New Guinea, and outside of Papua New Guinea. I have to still get my head around to see what time zones we are all in. But for now, have a wonderful afternoon, Papua New Guinea, and that is all for today's conversation. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye for now.